This woman was found 12 days after her funeral, and she was breathing. In our modern society, death is often announced by medical professionals. But in many parts of the world, there are different customs surrounding the announcement and the celebration of death. Sometimes this can lead to some very unexpected situations, like the one we will be talking about today. In this case, a woman from the Philippines was declared dead and buried alive. Yes, you heard that right. She was laid to rest in a cemetery in the northern Philippines, but 12 days later, she was discovered to be alive. How is this even possible? Let's find out. It all started when the woman's family began to notice that she was acting strangely. At first, they thought it was just a normal mood swing. But when she started to get worse, they took her to the hospital. At the hospital, doctors performed several tests and tried their best to figure out what was wrong with her. But they couldn't find anything. They checked her brain activity and found that it was almost zero. They also checked her reflexes and found that she wasn't responding to any of them. After a few days, the doctors told the family that their loved one was brain dead. They explained that even though her heart was still beating, she would never be able to wake up again. The family was devastated, but they had to make a decision. Should they keep their loved one on life support, or should they let her go? In the end, they decided to let her go. The family began to make arrangements for the funeral. They bought a coffin, and they started to plan the burial. But what they didn't know was that she was actually still alive. On the day of the funeral, the family and friends gathered together to say goodbye. They prayed, they sang, and they shared stories of the deceased. After the ceremony, they carried the coffin to the cemetery. They lowered the coffin into the grave, and then they started to fill it with dirt. As the dirt was being shoveled into the grave, the woman in the coffin started to move. She opened her eyes, and she started to scream for help, but no one could hear her. The people were busy burying the coffin, and they didn't hear her scream. Once they finished, they all left. After everyone had gone, the woman in the coffin took a deep breath, and she began to dig herself up. She managed to get out of the coffin, and she started to crawl away. As she was crawling, she started to feel something strange. She felt like she was being watched. She turned around and she saw the dirt that had been covering her. She had been buried alive. The woman quickly covered herself with leaves and branches. She didn't want anyone to see her. She stayed there for several hours until it was dark. Then she made her way to a nearby house and knocked on the door. When the people inside the house opened the door, they were shocked. They couldn't believe what they were seeing. A woman who had been declared dead was standing in front of them. The woman explained what had happened to her, and the people inside the house called the police. When the police arrived, they were also shocked. They had to take the woman to the hospital for treatment. Today, the woman is alive and well. She makes sure to tell her story to everyone, so that they know that even when things seem hopeless, there is always hope.